And this is the doctor here,
Son
live
of
from the U.S.
God
Open.
dang it!
I'm joined by Ryan Harrison's right
Get
here.
away from me! I want to talk to this microphone. First of all, let me just say this.
Did you have a tough time?
This is ridiculous. I cannot believe this. I mean, let me tell you one thing. These freaking judges are unbelievable. You got the courts are not taking care of it all. My ball wasn't.
I gotta stop you. Here comes John McEnroe.
Listen, kid. Your name's Ryan, right?
Yeah, of course it's Ryan. What do you want?
Ryan, take it from me.
Take it from you. You're washed up. You're old. I don't want to talk to you.
Ryan, take it from me. Throwing temper tantrums won't get you anywhere.
Oh, it'll get me somewhere. Don't worry.
Take advice from an old man. And welcome everyone to another exciting edition of Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster, we've got some company here.
We got a lot of company. I mean, we've squeezed a lot of people in our little studio here.
We've got some young gentlemen here from the Mayhem Wrestling Federation. These guys are up and coming. What I really like about them is they are the appearance of backyard wrestling without being backyard wrestling. They have a board of directors. They have a CEO who unfortunately could not be here tonight, but they've got a lot of young talent. I'm going to let them introduce themselves right now. Take it away, guys.
All right. Well, I'm going to first of all introduce myself. I am Justin Starr, the MWF champion right now, and well, I'm going to let you go to the rest of them.
My name's Jigsaw, and I am a MWF Divine Rights and Makeshift Champion.
I'm Taz. All I can say is I give it my all, 150% every time.
And my name is Doyle. I'm the guy who does the video editing.
And they're a young company for sure. We've seen some of your tapes. Doyle's been a long-time friend of ours. I'm going to say that off the front. I've known Doyle for about 10 years?
If that.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
He's been a long-time friend, a great guy, great all-around guy. He's shown us some videos of you guys. You guys are amazing. I love what you all do, and I love what I really like most about you guys is that, you know, a lot of people when they think backyard wrestling, what they think is these guys are crazy. These guys don't know what they're doing. You guys have the appearance of a backyard wrestling federation, but I'm not going to put you guys there because you all have an organization. Tell us a little bit about the organization of the MWF.
Well, our first appearance of it was we wanted to make something that was extreme in a way to where it can still be surrounded by a safe environment.
Right.
So we could go around and, you know, there's always day after day training, nonstop until the next event. We go event by event, you know, from one to the other. And it's always back-to-back training. There's always new moves, new people we're trying to pull in, more fan base, event after event. Like, our last couple events aren't going to be anywhere compared to this next one. And we're just always trying to bump it up one more level at a time.
And we're going to get to y'all's event in a few moments, but first tell me a little bit how this started. How did the MWF come about into existence?
Well, it started all with one ladder match.
Which is always a good place to start.
Which happens to be my specialty because I've always been quite a favorite of the ladders. Ever since Jeff Hardy has entered into the, you know, WWE, most of every wrestling federation. You know, they've always been a big thing to me, a big part of my life. You know, I won my first title on a ladder match. I've done most of my stuff from a ladder because I'm just not afraid of heights. I love to be up there, and it's just a big thing that we need. And so when we built off of the first ladder match, we said we need to take this to another level. Mm-hmm. We need to build an organization. We need to take it higher up, and we need to get the fan base that we deserve because we are legit. We're not the rest of what backyard wrestlers are going to say, well, you know, we do this. We're going to jump off of a house. We're going to go through a table and stuff like that. No, they're not safe about it. Someone's going to die like that. You can't keep going to certain extremes to where, you know, people are just going to die.
Right, absolutely.
You have to have sanctioned ways and legit organization company-wise in order to keep all of your wrestlers intact and keep a strong fan base.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why I got a hold of CEO Daniel Waters and John Doyle, because I knew you guys were safe about it. I knew you guys would be a good example for those of you guys trying to do it right. If you're going to do it, guys, training. And like I said, I have nothing but great things to show, to see with what you guys are doing and where you guys are going. And I wanted to get people getting behind you guys. Let's give someone else a little bit of talking time. Not that you're doing a bad job or anything, but
Mr.
you guys
Jigsaw
are,
here.
You guys are
tell
all
us a
here.
little bit about.
Tell us about your next event, the September 11th, right?
Well, next event is 1,000 Nightmares. It's basically a tribute show for the 9/11 attacks. We like to, and it's also an event where I will be defending my Divine Rights title against one Corey Half-a-Star. It's our cousin.
Now, is half a star, is that kind of a play to The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler?
I don't know. Why don't you tell
When they
him?
call Caretaker half a star?
He's not too dangerous, but he's got some skill.
He's got a little bit of skill, but we can work with that.
Well, I like it. Postmaster, you got any questions?
Well, I've seen the videos as well. You've shown a few to me. It's, very entertaining. I know we had talked with the guys at MWA about possibly the gentleman here, me, myself, you, and Big B, who's not with us right now, but he's with us, about possibly doing the commentary for MWA. And
MWF.
MWF,
Yeah.
thank you. And we brought them on the show because we endorse what they're doing. We like what they're doing. You guys, is there a way you guys can check it out? If somebody out there on our show want to watch you guys, is there a way that they can watch you guys now? Or is there a Facebook or a YouTube page? Or
Jigsaw actually is set up the YouTube page for it.
okay,
We do have a fan-based Facebook page set up. It's called MWF Backyard Wrestling.
all right.
We now have, I do believe, 28 likes already, and it's only been up for about 4 days.
Awesome,
Sounds
awesome.
pretty good.
We'll definitely have our producer put that up on our site, on our
Yes.
Facebook page. A link for your all's Facebook page and a link for the YouTube site if you guys want to leave that information with us. We'll gladly get that up because, like I said, we brought you guys on here. Taz, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do there at MWF and what you got going on?
I've only had 2 matches. There's been 3 events. I've had 2 matches. I had one Stairway to Heaven type style match with Jigsaw and Corey Half-Star, and as you can see, he kind of prevailed over top of me on that one. That's the first one. Well, the second event, me and Justin Starr here went to extremes with each other. We took each other blow for blow, shot for shot, table that wouldn't break for table that wouldn't break. It was
That's never good.
Probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me, I tell you what.
Right, absolutely.
And then the end of the match, we put it all together and just made it a show for everybody, trying to get that connection with the crowd and connection with everything we love to do in backyard wrestling, and it laid it all out there for us.
Absolutely.
Guys,
Okay, so before we wrap it up here,
I do a segment on the show called Buy Sell. Sell me.
yeah, sell us why we should or why the fans
Why should our fan base watch you guys? Just sell us a little bit on that.
Well, let me ask you this, Doctor. Have you ever had a dream to where you wanted to go to great lengths to get this dream to be accomplished?
Of course,
Have
we're
you ever-
doing it now.
Have you ever just climbed the ladder of success over and over again until you finally met your success to get everything you ever wanted?
Mhm.
That's what we at the MWF are about.
Okay.
We climb successes that are unclimbable. We go to new mountains every time we get into the backyard. Every day.
Mhm.
We do non-stop events over and over, training on training, to make sure we are the best, most legit federation. If you want a good time and you want entertainment, you want to see the MWF.
All
I'm
right.
not lying.
I like it.
I like it. Sounds great. And you guys, like I said, we'll leave your link or posting on our page,
will.
Facebook page, for everybody to check it out. We appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy training schedule and stopping by. Thank you for stopping by, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
And with that being said, we'd like to thank our special guests from here with MWF. And I think now we're going to move on to sports action. So.
I think that interview went really well. Big B, welcome back with us.
What's up, guys?
We got a few things to talk about on this week's show, but as always, we're going to start out with some questions.
All right.
Okay, from FWA Owner 22, thank you. Who's your pick to win the NCAA football championship?
as you heard today, we heard this today. This Saturday is the Louisville Murray State game. So obviously Thursday.
I will be in attendance.
All right. College football is starting early. It's football season. Football season is here, guys, and it's getting stronger. It's like an engine. It just keeps going. It's going. It's getting started. Obviously, I don't pick Louisville to win the national championship, but I do like the Oregon Ducks, and I'll tell you why. A lot of the players that were there last year, they're returning this year. I think Oregon has an explosive offense, and not to be mean to other teams, but there's no violations against them that I know of. So I think Oregon is definitely a pick. I use the term here that people use, a sexy pick to win the national championship in football in college. I think they're a great pick.
I'm going to go with a few teams. Like I said, there's over 160 in the league.
Yeah.
So
Good thing we couldn't do a schedule for that one.
Yeah, we couldn't do a schedule for that. I think I like Boise State and TCU. But my pick overall to win this year, if you asked me last week, would have been LSU. But some things happened with LSU, a bunch of scandals going on with Les Miles, and of course the bar fight, in which their quarterback has been indefinitely suspended. I think my pick now is probably going to be Alabama. I think Alabama's got definitely some good things going on, as people in the West do. I know you're like, why are you dismissing Auburn completely? Auburn was Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. Cam Newton's gone. Yeah. It's Alabama again. Yeah.
I'm going to go totally off the beaten path from either one. And
you're gonna pick Princeton?
Yes, Princeton. No, I'm going Big 12, and I'm going to take the Oklahoma Sooners.
Okay. Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner, good old JR's team. I think they're a good pick to win the national title. If I'm not mistaken, they're preseason #1, which obviously that never means anything.
Right.
And we all know that Bob Stoops in the big game has had trouble in the past. I think this is the year they finally get over the hump. They got a very good defense, a good up-and-coming offense. And I'm taking Oklahoma. So, next question here from MooDS126.
Okay.
Do you think Miz and Truth will end up on SmackDown?
This question is kind of iffy because I don't see them individually ending up on SmackDown, but I see them going there as a tag team because it seems like they're building the Miz and R-Truth as a tag team at this point. Obviously, they worked a promo a week ago or so ago on Raw, and it was hilarious. You also like a bunch of ducks, which I thought was funny.
Bunch of ducks!
But it seems like they're building them as a tag team. I don't know if they're going to go into the tag team division to face like Kofi Kingston, Evan Bourne, the Usos, or other teams that come their way. But I do see them being as maybe like a stable type of team. So if there are a team, I think they're going to end on SmackDown because the tag teams fluctuate both shows anyway.
I don't think so. I think a lot of their feuds are unresolved and they're on Raw. John Morrison, obviously, with R-Truth, and The Miz going at it with Alex Riley and constantly always thinking he's in the championship picture. I think they stay on Raw.
Okay. I think they stay on Raw to an extent, but if they do team up and they become a force in the tag team division and become tag team champions, that's obviously going to mean that they can go over to SmackDown because they have the titles. So, if they become champions, yes. If not, if they kind of stay the way they are now, no, I don't see it. So, now some questions from our favorite viewer, Undead Warrior 75. We love you, buddy. We love you.
You're what keeps the show on the air, I guarantee.
What do you think about Triple H, Kevin Nash, and CM Punk storyline?
I think it is amazing. I think CM Punk and anything now is obviously a buy for me. Kevin Nash, obviously, I think Kevin Nash is not obviously the man he was years ago on the mic. I was probably showing when he went on with CM Punk and got destroyed on the mic. I will get to Raw here in a little while, but obviously, Nash and CM Punk were feuding. They were fighting and stuff like that, but I just don't see Nash obviously wrestling again. But I love the storyline. I think it's a great idea. CM Punk against the establishment and Nash as like the bodyguard of Triple H, so to speak. I like it.
I think I'm going to agree with you as far as it's a good storyline. He is on contract. Of course, the business. Everyone always questions his health. I think he's healthy enough to one like the Undertaker. 1 or 2 matches to that capacity. I think they do work with that. I do see him wrestling again, just not so soon. I think they try to get him a little bit healthier than what he is. But yeah, I definitely see him wrestling, and I think it's an A+. As you said, anything with CM Punk, I'm buying.
Yeah, it's a good storyline. They're able to do a lot with it, and I think what makes it better is the fact that CM Punk gets open reign on the microphone. I think that makes it a really good storyline, so he can say what he wants. like all the bad remarks about Stephanie McMahon. And so with that being said, yeah, it's definitely something to look out for.
Absolutely.
What do you think about John Superman Cena and Randy Batman Orton?
Well, first of all, I don't think Randy Orton's as epic as Batman. I'll say that right now. I think Batman's
World's finest.
I think Batman is more epic than anybody, but that's a topic for another day. So if you have a question about Batman, please send it. But get back on this topic. I kind of agree with the names he gave. I mean, not Batman, but Superman John Cena, that's his gimmick. He's the Superman. He comes back from everything. He can't keep the man down. And I know, like, some people that like Randy Orton don't like me calling him the John Cena of SmackDown, but it's happened. John Cena is the face of Raw. He's the big face on Raw, and Randy Orton's the big face on SmackDown. That's it. The thing is, I like Randy Orton. I mean, I did, but he seems like he's becoming like John Cena. He's being shoved down our throats. He's the champion. He's being keep shoved down our throats, and I don't like it.
I don't like it.
That's why we not like John Cena, because they get shoved down our throats. I think you don't have to do that for Randy Orton. He was fine the way he was. Now, like, he's being shoved in our faces like John Cena, and I don't like that. So, what do I think about them? I think they need to take a step back with the two of them.
I disagree on a little bit. I think I totally agree with the names he gave, except for the Batman thing. I think in their own right, they're both Superman of their respective brands. But the difference between Randy Orton and John Cena is John Cena's been run down our throat a lot more with fewer moves, and he's constantly been in the title picture. Constantly. Randy Orton's been in the title picture, but it hasn't been a constant thing. I think Randy Orton has a lot more moves and a lot more athletic ability. Of course, popping the RKO. I definitely think at the Slammies, whoever does the Slammies is absolutely terrible for not giving move of the year to the RKO on Evan Bourne.
I was live at that. I was in person for that. And it was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know what it could have looked like on TV.
Well, they cut away from it on TV, so you really see the impact.
But in person, I come out of my chair and was like, oh my God! Like Joey Styles. Like, what the heck just happened?
I think that Randy Orton has a lot more athletic ability, a lot more promise, and I don't mind them running Randy Orton down my throat as much as I do John Cena.
I'm sick of both of them.
I agree with the Randy Orton part as a Christian.
And John Cena, like I said, I like John Cena. I know these guys don't. But John Cena does need to take a step back. He is in the title picture a lot. Randy Orton, I don't like what they're making his character. John Cena Jr. is exactly what it is. Give him his own identity. I mean, he's the apex predator, for God's sakes. Why does he have to be like John Cena?
Right.
He does the same stuff over and over. Moving on with that, if John Cena were to lose to Alberto Del Rio at Night of Champions, who deserves to be the next title shot?
Off the top of my head, CM Punk, unless he's still feuding with Triple H or Nash or whoever that happens with that storyline. The Miz, because he's always in the title picture all the time. I could see maybe John Morrison getting a push in that direction. Maybe R-Truth. But the thing is, on SmackDown, there really isn't a lot of Raw. There's not a lot of main eventers to step up to the plate at this point, except CM Punk. And I think at this point, there's only one believable guy to be champion other than John Cena and Del Rio, and that's CM Punk. So Raw is kind of iffy for me, but I would say maybe CM Punk or The Miz.
I agree. I think CM Punk's definitely got to go. Even Triple H said whoever wins that match that they had 2 weeks ago had first reign, and whoever lost had second reign. So John Cena's got him United Champions, and CM Punk, as far as I'm concerned, has him the next pay-per-view. So I think CM Punk, without a doubt.
I think CM Punk would be your obvious choice and your most logical fit. I'm going to go a little on the limb here, and I'm going to think that with this whole Super Show thing starting up, apparently, I'm going to go out on the box here, and I'm going to say that Alberto Del Rio, and this may sound crazy, should defend the title against Cody Rhodes.
But Cody Rhodes is on SmackDown.
I know, but now that they're both, it's a Super Show, they could intersect just as easy. He's the Intercontinental Champion. We all know being Intercontinental Champion usually means you get a title shot or you get the title sooner or later. I'm picking Cody Rhodes.
Did you say Cody Rhodes?
I said Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm alone yet again.
He's jumped on the Cody Rhodes bandwagon, as should you. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, you don't jump on the Rhodes bandwagon, you're going to be left behind.
Right.
First of all, he's sadly mistaken. I'm not jumping on any Cody Rhodes.
No!
I'm just saying, from logic and fact of the past, is where I'm getting my process of thinking on that. So, what do you think about WWE trying to remold, and we touched on this last week, the tag team division, and who would you like to see team up on Raw or SmackDown?
Obviously, the tag division, it seems like it's improving a little bit. They're giving Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston the time to be a team. Obviously, they already gave him a name, Air Boom, which I don't care for.
Air Boom?
The Usos.
That's terrible.
The Usos are obviously, they're kind of pushing them a little bit. I don't think McGillicuddy and Otunga are going to be a team for much longer. I think they're going to go their separate ways, start building their singles career.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like what I've been hearing, they're bringing a lot of teams in. It seems like right now it's a done deal. They're going to get the Kings of Wrestling in Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli from ROH. It seems like a lot of talk is being about Robert Roode and James Storm from TNA, which we're all mentioning TNA, but I think Robert Roode and James Storm are a phenomenal tag team from what I've seen from them on TNA.
Bear money.
So I think that's a definite good sign for the tag team. But I don't see anyone, because I don't like the tag team division on WWE at this point, because it seems like there's no good tag teams anymore. They just take guy A and guy B, you go together, and that's it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I just don't. I think they need to bring people in to make a good tag team.
I think what they need to stop doing is breaking up tag teams. You know, because you saw with the
Hard
Hard
Dynasty.
Dynasty already. You've seen it a lot recently. R-Truth, John Morrison. I think it needs to stop.
Miz, Big Show,
Crime
Miz,
Time. I loved Crime Time.
The thing, I'll jump on that because I know you're making your point, but I'm glad you brought that up. Crime Time was one of the premier teams in WWE, and then they showed something that you wouldn't normally see. Shad turned on him, and he became heel. I actually thought that was awesome. They had one match, and then they never did anything again.
Right, they never did anything again. I think they need to stop breaking up tag teams because it does nothing. And when you're trying to build a division and you're breaking down teams, you're breaking down that division.
Yeah.
And I think they need to stop breaking up tag teams, keep them together a little bit longer, and just let it happen. In the 80s, that was a lot of good tag team wrestling in the 80s with Demolition, Legion of Doom, the Bushwhackers.
Yeah.
They were entertaining. They weren't the best, but they were entertaining.
So is Randy Orton the third Bushwhacker?
Maybe so, the way he's acting here lately. I can agree with them more. I mean, they need to stop breaking up teams. They need to stop just putting him and him together and creating a team. They need to get more tag team oriented. The tag team division is important in wrestling, and I think it would be great to see WWE get back.
It seems like they're building towards that point now because it seems like they're trying to focus more on the tag team division, so it seems like it's going to improve.
What do you think about a WWE TNA invasion? And do you think it would be worth the watch?
I'm going to say yes, and here's why. With competition, everything's better. WWE had to compete against WCW, and their product was at the top of its game. And I think, obviously, if a TNA invasion happened, obviously WWE would be like, let's do something. Obviously, they'd be in agreement with it. And I would imagine that the creative team would take over creative development and work out a smart storyline because they're the best in the world at what they do. No pun intended to Chris Jericho or CM Punk. But I think if they did a TNA invasion, it'd be really well done. I think they'd make smart decisions. I think they put the top guys that were in TNA originally in the main storylines, like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, not like Kurt Angle or Kennedy or people that were in WWE previously. I think they would bring TNA in and make the guys that were in TNA since the beginning over. So I think it'd be a good idea.
Well, we're jumping the gun a little bit here because the first thing that has to happen is WWE has to acquire TNA.
Right.
But if that were to happen, we've been down this road before. I think they could do it a little bit differently than they did with the invasion. But yeah, I mean, it would definitely be worth a watch. I don't think it happens. I think TNA's on the way out. They've made a few questionable decisions as of late, and I think that they're going to get crushed, especially
I think the reason, like, I'll let you get your topic. I think the reason that they wouldn't let this happen ever is because when TNA challenged them to the Monday Night Wars, they just failed. They just failed in ratings. The ratings suffered. WWE destroyed them on Monday night. So obviously that Spike said, you're not working on Monday, so we'll put you back on Thursday. So unless TNA does something to impress WWE, because I'm sure they watch it. I'm sure they check it out because of people that they probably enjoy that have been there before. But I think until they see something, then they say, okay, they're starting to build up. Maybe we can do something with them because it'd be good for business. But right now, I don't see them doing anything anytime soon.
We've actually seen a TNA invasion before, believe it or not, to an extent. If you watch the 50 Greatest Moments in TNA DVD, there was a part when WWE was in Orlando. Some TNA people found out about it. Right. They tried to break through. It obviously didn't work.
Right.
But I don't think it would work. I don't think it would be good. I think WWE would be lowering their standards if they tried to invade TNA, because TNA is definitely nowhere even close to up to par to the standards of WWE. So I don't like the idea, and I don't see it working. Do you think Ted DiBiase Jr. should have got a Intercontinental or U.S. title before Cody Rhodes?
You're asking me.
I'm not even going to ask you this question.
Well, I
no, I'm not even going to ask you because it'd be complete and total bias.
Let me give my honest opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, I'm going to say no. But the thing is...
See what I mean?
I like DiBiase, but I think he's being used the wrong way. I do see him doing some sort of angle where he gets tired of Cody Rhodes, making him his lackey, putting bags on his head, and not giving him the respect he obviously deserves. So I think eventually DiBiase is going to get that push to face Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental title, and he probably is going to win. But I think when the legacy was going on, obviously Randy was the top guy in that group, and I think Cody Rhodes was second because I think Cody Rhodes improved as a performer, so he proved why he deserves to be the Intercontinental Champion at this point before Ted DiBiase.
I'm actually going to say no to.
Yes.
Cody
Rhodes is epic.
Well, it's not so much that he's epic.
No.
It's just he was. DiBiase Jr. was feuding and losing at that point in time to Daniel Bryan, and of course having this failed storyline with Maurice. So I think when you look at it like that, Rhodes was the obvious choice.
Yeah.
I had to agree.
Yes!
I had to agree.
You heard it here. Triple Threat Talk, they agree with me about Cody Rhodes.
I'm just agreeing.
Not that he's epic.
I'm just agreeing so we can move on.
But given the choice between the two of them.
Okay, a few more questions here. Real quick, Kings of Wrestling apparently have signed with WWE. Do you think that's a good thing, and what do you think that they will do well?
Let's just run through this real quick because we talked about the tag team division before in that question. I think they do amazing. I saw them in ROH in Chicago. They were amazing. They fought the Kings of Wrestling. They fought Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. That was a great match between the two of them. I think Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli are probably one of the best tag teams in wrestling. I mean, they obviously deserve that name, the Kings of Wrestling. And I think if they came to WWE, they'd do a hell of a job. I think they would make the tag team division improved, and people would be actually interested in the tag team division. They get me interested, to be honest.
I don't really know. I think they need to build the tag team division first before they start bringing in outsider teams and taking gamble. From a business perspective, you got to make sure something's going to stand up. And at this point, I'm just not buying the tag team division. I'm just not doing it, and I think they need to evaluate before they bring in outsiders to work in the division. I think they build it first with what they have.
I think they need to bring in outsiders to build it to make
I
it
agree.
better.
I agree with that.
To make it better, they need to go from the out instead of from the in up. They need to go out and bring them in. And I think if they did that and bringing in these two guys is a great move. If they could get Beer Money, that would be a good move. If they could get Generation Me, that would be a good move.
It seems like they're going to get them also.
Or if they could even get the Motor City Machine Guns, that would be another good pickup for them.
That's the one thing I think TNA does well, better than WWE, is their tag team division.
Absolutely, I think so. One more question here, which, by the way, these last couple of questions I forgot to mention because Undead Warrior, our biggest fan, had so many questions. We're from Against All Odds 20, so thank you for those questions, by the way. What do you think of ROH's TV deal with Sinclair, and do you think that will help or affect WWE?
I mean, again, I'll mention I was there for the actual first ever TV taping. It was amazing. I told you it was 4.5 hours because they had some technical issues. The first time on broadcast TV, so obviously things went a little slower than they're used to. But It seems like with the people they're bringing in from ROH to WWE, as like I said, Chris Hero and Claudio Castagnoli, CM Punk came from ROH. It seems like WWE has an interest in ROH, and it seems like I think they might have a partnership with them eventually because they're going to probably take people from ROH and bring them into WWE because I think ROH has a lot of great talent. There's a lot of talent in that company that's probably better than some people in WWE.
I think they're already doing it, actually. I think, like they were doing with OVW, their farm teams, actively taking people from their roster Obviously, you can't switch back and forth since both teams are on, or since both organizations are now on TV.
Right.
But I think definitely ROH, in 6 or 7 month spans of time, you're going to see people from ROH and WWE and people from WWE on ROH. I think they do have a partnership going on that's kind of under the radar because they technically are competing.
Right.
But technically not. I think they're teaming up to put TNA to bed.
Right, and the thing I'll mention about ROH real quick, we're actually going to start talking about ROH when the show becomes live on TV. Now, unfortunately, in our area, the only market that gets ROH is the Lexington area, and obviously we live in Louisville, so that can't happen, but Jim Cornette announced at the ROH show in Chicago that you can watch online for free.
Right.
So, obviously, there's no reason why we shouldn't cover it, so once ROH starts online, we're going to check it out and obviously bring you what's going on there, because I think they're definitely deserving of that TV deal.
One quick note about OVW. Just a stat I'll throw out there. I know you guys like your stats.
Well, he does.
Absolutely. Currently, 6 of the 11 major titles in wrestling are held by OVW alums.
Yes.
I just thought that would be
And
an
another
interesting
thing,
fact to throw out there.
that you're mentioning, right now it looks like we're going to go. There's a show actually at the OVW Davis Arena here locally in Louisville for those of our local fans. October 1st. Actually, the people from ROH are going to be in that arena.
Yes, for a TV taping.
So we're probably going to be there, maybe cover some stuff, maybe get to talk to somebody. Hopefully, if you've ever been to an OVW show, the guys are really friendly there that you go up to and talk to them. So obviously, we maybe can get to talk to somebody from ROH. So we'll definitely stay tuned for that when it rolls around in October.
Absolutely. So with that being said, let's move on to a few topics we'd like to discuss
I don't know if you guys can see the board back there, but we have a couple topics on the board.
And we'll let the Big B here talk a little U.S. Open action.
Well, before I get into the U.S. Open, I mean, this is something that affected all sports this past weekend was Hurricane Irene.
Hurricane Irene.
I mean, it put a damper on a lot of things, not to make a pun on rain or whatever.
Damper.
But I mean, it affected a lot of baseball games. It postponed the Jets-Giants game to this past Monday. It's a shame when that affects sports because things get pushed back. And obviously, one thing that I enjoy about the U.S. Open is the Sunday before the U.S. Open starts is Arthur Ashe Day. They obviously had to cancel that because of the bad weather. They have a lot of performers that show up there, and a lot of kids enjoy that day. I've seen it before. Kids have a good time, but obviously they couldn't do that because of the hurricane. So with that being said, the U.S. Open got underway. Marty Fish, who's the top American player, number 8 in the world, he looked impressive. Very impressive win. I could see maybe going to the semifinals. Maria Sharapova on the women's side, she actually really struggled. She almost lost the match. She did lose the first set, but she got her act together and won in straight sets. So, Postmaster, what do Petra Kvitova and Lena have in common?
Who?
I expected that answer, but what they have in common is they both lost in the first round, and they both were their last previous Grand Slam champions. Petra Kvitova won at Wimbledon, and she lost in straight sets, and Lena lost in straight sets today also.
That was on Final Jeopardy last night.
But the thing about Petra Kvitova is she just won Wimbledon, which it's the biggest tournament in tennis, and losing in the first round of the U.S. Open is not really something that makes me believe that she is the top of women's game. I still think it's like Caroline Wozniacki and Sharapova and people like Serena Williams, I think, is still up there. On the men's side, Djokovic looked good. Nadal just won his match not too long ago before we started filming tonight. Federer looks good. Fish looks good. Roddick's on the outside of the top 10 for the first time in a long time. So I know you guys, like I said this every episode, you guys don't watch tennis as much as I do, but I will defend this to the day I die. The U.S. Open at night matches at the U.S. Open are one of the most exciting things on TV I've ever experienced. The crowd is so into it. The crowd gets so hyped for it. It is an amazing, amazing experience, and one day I hope to go to experience that myself.
You think maybe it's because the lighting is so bad they can't see what's going on?
I like it.
I like it.
But it is a good sport, and there are tremendous.
Sorry, Big B. I had to
there are tremendous.
And once again, they put a damper on my sport, which is why I'm going to quit the show next week.
They do have incredible athletes in tennis that no one can take that away. And beautiful ones, too, in the face of Anna Kournikova and Maria Sharapova, for sure.
Well, Kournikova doesn't play anymore.
Well, I know, but she did come from tennis.
I know.
Let's talk a little Pat Summitt here.
Yeah, the queen of the round ball, for sure. Pat Summitt, for those of you that don't know, she is the best coach of any sport ever. I don't care what anybody says. She is the winningest coach in basketball, period, not just women's basketball. She has over 2,000 wins. She is an amazing woman, an amazing coach. Has done a lot for Tennessee, the Tennessee program. She was diagnosed with dementia, and we definitely want to wish
Absolutely.
her well in her struggle for sure. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, it does run in the family. It's a terrible disease, and it's something we need a cure for.
Definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to Mrs. Summit and her family.
Right.
And we want to, respect their privacy and hope all the well. And she is going to keep coaching. So,
good
I
for
mean,
her,
hey, good for her. So, moving on to another Tennessee native, I guess you could say, Peyton Manning. Thank God.
He's going to practice, but they're still unsure if he's going to play week 1 against the Texans.
And
it is very well unsure that it's not whether or not he's going to play. But the fact that he's actually even practicing on a limited basis is a good sign.
Makes you throw your hands up in the air in excitement.
It makes me want to just go saying, "Oh, gotta love." Anyway, then we get too carried away. But we did, in fact, actually, the news broke right before our show aired last week that the Colts went out and signed Kerry Collins, brought him out of retirement, signed him to a 2-year, multi-million-dollar deal. Does this mean we're getting rid of Curtis Painter? Please, God. Obviously, Mike Hartline has already been released. Nate Davis has already been released. I got a feeling that after the Bengals game on Thursday night that Dan Orlovsky will be released. So, will he start game 1? It's not a given for sure yet, but this is definitely a good sign and good to see, from a standpoint of I don't think he's going to be out 6-8 games like a lot of people thought. I think 1 or 2 at best. So moving on to another quarterback in the NFL.
Michael Vick.
A guy that completely was overpaid, and this contract is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy it, not one bit. I don't think he's worth this money. I think the Eagles are taking a big, big risk here. 6 years, $100 million. With, I think, $40 million guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken.
For 3 years.
The thing I want to say is, what's going on with these big contract deals now? The lockouts.
Well,
you have Larry Fitzgerald getting a huge deal, now Michael Vick.
Here's
and
what's
Peyton
going
Manning
on.
getting a good deal.
Here's what's going on, guys. Michael Vick got $100 million for 6 years with guaranteed $40 million for 3 years. He's in his prime. He's a scramble quarterback. That means his knees are going to go first. He has 3 prime years left. That's what they're doing. They're banking on paying him the $40 million. But with the new contract in the NFL, I am actually buying this contract, and I'll tell you why. With the new players agreement, the new CBA, they have to meet a deadline. They have to meet a salary. You have to spend a good amount of money.
Absolutely.
That puts them halfway there by saying that money is locked up, so they can pay other people less. But that $100 million is still there for them to go out year after year after year. And I tell you what, it gives them more room to go after Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson is next, and I think that you're going to see something similar. He's going to get another what you guys deem a ridiculous contract, but in essence, it really does make sense from a business standpoint because they're locking that money down. You're going to see the trickle-down economics go forward, and you're going to see some of the little guys get paid a little bit less. The medium guys get paid what they should be paid, but these guys right here, Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick and Nnamdi Asomugha, they're going to get ridiculous contracts over the next coming years to make sure that CBA agreement for the Philadelphia Eagles is met.
I think, but I'm saying it's a ridiculous contract from the standpoint, I don't think Michael Vick was worth this money. I think he is overrated. He is not the quarterback that everybody makes him out to be. He was very well exposed against the Steelers when it was 1s against 1s the other night. I don't think you're going to get a year like you got last year. I think last year was lightning in a bottle. I don't think you're going to see the same performance year-round, and that is why I don't see the Eagles doing as well as everybody thinks. I think everybody needs to get off the Eagles' high horse and the Eagles' bandwagon.
I'm not on the Eagles. What I'm saying is this makes sense from a business standpoint because when you don't know what your future holds and you don't know who's coming up, who's going to be paid, I think this contract makes the most sense to help you meet the CBA agreement. And I think everybody's on the Eagles because Michael Vick is going to be good. Deshaun Jackson is where it's at, and Nnamdi Asomugha, you've got 16 teams that are going to be playing the Eagles this year. They're going to be throwing to the opposite side of the field that Nnamdi Asomugha is on.
Yeah.
I think that's why everybody's on his bandwagon. At Oakland, he didn't have you couldn't win because the offense was terrible. Here you've got something to work with.
Yeah.
And I think the Eagles, I think with everything puts together, I agree with you in a point. I think this is going to be the only good year the Eagles get, but I think this year they're going to make it count. And I am saying the Eagles win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so moving on in point here. Do you think that players should be paid in the NCAA?
No, but yes. It seems like it's going on anyway right now.
Right,
With
yeah.
scandals at Ohio State,
Miami.
There's other places. I'm sure it happens everywhere. I mean, you're silly if you think your favorite college program is not paying players under the table. It could be anywhere from $50 up to hundreds of thousands, like was suspected with Cam Newton. I think they should be reimbursed for one thing, and that's video game appearances. As silly as that sounds, you have all these players, all these stats. You have the players' numbers in these NCAA
Right, that's what
video games.
that's what I was going to mention.
Right.
Like in NCAA football games, they don't mention their name; they just put the number.
Right,
on
they put the numbers, which is a representation of them.
Right.
Whenever I made this point with a local talk show host earlier in the year. You have names like Jack Sparrow, Optimus Prime, Megatron, Voltron. You have all these names. Guess what? Those are all likenesses. Those are all copyrighted, and these players are likenessed. When you have anybody, Chad Ochocinco, number 85. Number 85 for his team was Chad Ochocinco, even though it didn't say it.
Right.
I think that money needs to go to a fund, and after the player graduates, they get the royalties from that money. And I think that's how you address the should they be paid question.
I don't think they should be paid at all.
I agree with you.
They're already paid because they're getting a free ride to college.
Right.
They're getting their dorm paid for. They're getting their food and housing paid for. I realize some of these kids come from slums. They cannot help that. I realize that some kids come from a bad situation. But I don't think they should be paid.
And like I said, I want to reiterate, I don't think they should be paid overall. I just think that, and I don't think they should be paid while they're in college. Like I said, you put the money from the royalties that they earn from those video games, because that's exploitation. I don't care what anybody says. You can agree or disagree all you want. It's your opinion, but I'm telling you, it's fact. It is exploiting the players for not even giving them a cent of what's being used with their likenesses and their abilities in these video games. Don't give them a dime while they're in college outside the contracts, like you said, outside their scholarships, because they are being paid. They're getting free education, they're getting food, they're getting gear, they're getting everything else. I agree. Don't give them a single cent while they're in college. But when they graduate, I think they need some royalty money coming out.
Best case scenario, just get rid of the college football and basketball video games. I mean, you already got Madden, which is very popular. You don't really need a college football game.
There's a lot of people that like to play the college football
I
game.
know, but I mean, that would solve all the problems.
Another thing that I definitely want to touch on, Texas A&M announced today officially, this is Tuesday that we're filming this, it's going to be released on Wednesday, Texas A&M officially announcing today they are leaving the Big 12. Are they SEC bound, guys?
Wow, very impressive.
Are they SEC bound?
I mean, it seems like if they got the invite, I would say they should get in there.
I would think so. I think it makes the most sense. You put them in the AFC. I got NFL on the mind!
They're good enough to go pro, that's for sure.
SEC West,
yes.
And they would be a good fit.
I think SEC West is a good fit. I think what the SEC needs to do now is extend an invitation to either Clemson or South Florida, and even out the East. And I think you got a great powerhouse 14-team SEC coming your way in the next couple of years.
That'd be good.
Sounds good. So with that being said, I think the doctor had about 2 or 3 buy or sell topics we're going to cover real quick, and then we'll move on to wrestling.
I did want to say buy or sell. We're going to do this. The NCAA.
Buy or sell league.
No, not the organization.
Oh, okay.
Let me say that the organization.
Wow. I mean, I say buy it. It does a lot of good things, obviously, and I don't know how much I can say about it. I just say buy it.
I think buy, and I'm with Big B. I mean, I realize a lot of stuff they do, it's not good, or it doesn't seem like what they're doing is good, but they do more good than bad. So buy NCAA.
I'm selling because I think that their personal biases are getting in the way here with scandals at Ohio State, Miami. certain people getting harsher penalties than the other people for bad things. I do agree they do good things. They get these kids from bad situations. They give them a means to live and means to get educated. But I think at the same time, bad things are going to happen when you start playing favorites. And as a multi-billion, with a B, organization, you cannot do that.
$100 billion.
How about the BCS, the bowl system? Let me clarify the bowl system.
I sell the way they do it. I wouldn't sell the system entirely. I just sell the way they do it because I think it's ridiculous that if a team is undefeated and there's a team that has like one loss, they are automatically champions or whatever because of the strength of schedule and the numbers, how they work them, whatever, how they work the numbers. So I wouldn't secondly sell the BCS themselves, but I would sell how they do the system itself because I think they should really restructure and fix it and make it like more logical so people can understand it.
I sell the fact that there's no like real champion.
Right.
To me, I think it's a paper champion.
It is
because you could have 3 undefeated teams, and that's happened. And one team gets left out. That's not fair. I mean, every other freaking sport in college has a playoff, I believe. Why not college football? I mean, college football Division 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. They have a playoff. Mm-hmm. Make it happen. Playoff.
Yeah.
I'm selling the BCS too for the same reason. The playoff needs to be instituted, and people are saying, but the bowls bring in so much money. Well, guess what? You have how many bowls? 32 bowls, right?
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So 64 teams. What else? What other prominent tournament used to have 64 teams?
Oh, the final NCAA
tournament. That's Final Four.
So what you do here, in my opinion, and this idea that I have, this is an original idea from me. To my knowledge, I'm the only person who's had this idea, and I floated it around. It's going to be new to these guys, but people that know me really well know that I've had this idea. You put the 32 bowl games as the first round of the playoff. That way, everybody gets their bowl games. Everyone's happy. You win the first game of a football game to move on to the next tournament. You get your trophy. You still have your bowl games. No more bowl games from then on until the regional championship, basically the semifinals, and then, of course, the national championship. So you go week after week after week. The first round is your bowl games. The second and third rounds don't mean anything. The fourth round, you get the semifinals. And then you go forward and get the Super Bowl. Listen, we're both on football. You get the championship match, and I think that's how they should determine it. I'm selling the BCS until they figure out something.
Yeah,
like
for
that.
sure.
Well, that tournament would never work because that would drag the college football season out way too long.
4 or 5 weeks, but it happens, and it's worth it to get a true champion.
Right.
Last one here, Kevin Nash. Are you buying or selling Nash?
Which buying or selling them is what?
Yeah, exactly.
As an employee of the WWE.
I buy him being there because it helps his storyline, but I sell him performing because I think his physical health is not what it used to be. The guy's obviously on in years, obviously. It was kind of cool to see him at the Royal Rumble again, get back in the ring as, Diesel or Vinny Vegas or Oz or whatever he wants to call himself, whatever. But I think it's good seeing him there in the storyline with Triple H, maybe kind of having his back because he's his buddy, But wrestling, don't wrestle again, Kevin. Please don't.
No. I'm buying him being there. I think it's great for him. It's great for the WWE, great publicity, but selling him as a wrestler, don't get back in the ring.
I'm buying him 100% actually. Both. I'm definitely buying him being there because he was an amazing talent. I do think there's
hope for Diesel, Oz, Vinny Vegas.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can call an apple an orange, but the fact is it's still an apple, right? So the fact,
whatever you say.
The fact of the matter is, I think he's a great talent. He does need to get healthy. I will agree. Don't wrestle until you get healthy. But when you get healthy, tell him. Hey, I can do this once or twice.
All right. So moving on to SmackDown
from last week. Nothing really big. One big thing that happened was Bret Hart was on it. Mm-hmm. Bret Hart was general manager.
Great.
General manager that night. He made Christian face Daniel Bryan.
He did.
Not much else happened there. A little, things happened here and there on SmackDown. Actually, the main event was Mark Henry versus Sheamus, and Sheamus actually got messed up.
Sheamus got messed up.
Sheamus did win by disqualification, which, in my opinion, makes both of them look weak. I think if Mark Henry loses, he looks weak, and if Sheamus wins, it makes no sense because Mark Henry's being pushed as the number one contender. So I think a count-out win for Sheamus makes no sense whatsoever, in my opinion.
So you had a count-out at the pay-per-view.
Count-out SmackDown.
And a count
and then after that, they have a little bit of scuffle outside the ring, and Mark Henry sends him on the steel steps with the world's strongest slam. So, and that that went into Raw. Raw was a super show as well. SmackDown guys were there as well.
Yeah, Raw this week was really good. We had Kevin Nash coming out and saying that he got his contract.
Yeah, Kevin Nash said, John Laurinaitis signed him to a contract deal.
Who?
John Laurinaitis.
Oh, okay.
He has laryngitis.
Oh, okay.
He signed Kevin Nash to a deal, so he's now a WWE employee, like
a lucrative deal,
like he wasn't before.
As if we didn't know.
Yeah, really.
Really?
You didn't know?
You didn't know.
But then he said he wants to face CM Punk. Wanted to face him at United Champion. So at that moment, it was going to be CM Punk versus Kevin Nash United Champion, but it
which
didn't.
makes no sense because it's Night of Champions.
Right, but didn't stay that way, did it, Postmaster?
No, it didn't. Which, by the way, before that little confrontation at the beginning of Raw was over, a couple things that stood out to me. One was obviously CM Punk's mic work again. Epic.
Of course.
His take on how, what does that sound? Click.
The remote.
Click. That's the sound of the remote changing channels every time Kevin Nash comes on the TV. Or the sound of Kevin Nash's knees when he's walking. That was hilarious. And that, with the choking, like, you know what that was? That's me acting sick. And the fact that Triple H was like, you know what, to the both of you, I got 2 words for you.
Yeah, I think CM Punk thinks that Nash and Triple H are in cahoots over this whole thing. I can't say I blame the guy. And obviously, in the next coming weeks, we'll see who's behind this whole thing with Nash and Triple H.
Well, maybe. I mean, heck, we still don't know who the Raw GM is.
I think they've given up on
I think they gave up.
They haven't done that little,
the podium's been there.
In weeks.
But
They've done it in weeks. So.
And so Raw is fixing to go off the air, and all of a sudden you see CM Punk and Triple H in a dark room. You're like, what the heck?
Ooh.
I know. Ooh. And he's like, I just got off the phone with the board of directors, and you and Kevin Nash's match at Night of Champions is not going to happen.
Nope, but
you will have a match.
CM Punk did have a match at Night of Champions
against Triple H.
Triple H hasn't been in the ring since The Undertaker WrestleMania 27, so obviously I think a match between CM Punk and Triple H would be really awesome. And once the final card for Night of Champions is out, we'll definitely be more than happy to discuss that match.
Right.
I want to say something on this particular note, just real quick. Triple H, I knew this would probably happen when he took over CEO. He tried to get into the ring. And I think that you have to separate yourself. Vince McMahon, yeah, he had a few matches, over the course. How many years did we see him? I know it seems like a lot, but technically, if you take all the years that he was on TV with Raw, TV, I'm talking like the Little Rascals. But
talk like Heath Slater.
But
Gender
Mahal.
All the years he was on TV,
right?
He didn't wrestle.
He's got a lot of accomplishments. He's won the Royal Rumble. He's been WWE champion.
Right.
He's been ECW champion.
But I think Triple H, I knew this would happen. Triple H getting back in the ring.
Well,
I think it's a bad idea.
I think the thing with that was, I think CM Punk kept pushing his buttons too much. Triple H is like saying, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm going to kick your ass.
But it's in my opinion, it's a bad business move. Yeah, people want to see Triple H wrestle, but you got to keep it separate. You got to keep business and work, as it were.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that's going to be a hell of a match.
It's going to be
a good could happen. And I know me and you are dreaming here.
You're dreaming over there.
I know. We would love to see it. And we didn't discuss it with you earlier, but we were discussing this earlier over dinner. The fact Triple H... Yes,
no.
It was. A white tablecloth, too.
Nice.
But... I said, what if Triple H came back on Monday night and said, well, the board of directors have decided it's not good for me to be involved in a match physically and wrestle, so my replacement in Night Champions will be Chris Jericho.
I don't like that. I'm not on the Chris Jericho thing like you guys are. I think he's a great talent. Don't get me wrong.
He is definitely freaking epic. Chris Jericho is freaking epic.
What killed it for me was they may have killed. I liked Chris Jericho at the beginning when he first came on. One of the first things he ever said on Raw, I was like, "This guy's gonna be great."
Yeah.
He looked over.
Raw is Jericho.
He looked over at Big Show in the stalls and was just like, "They call you the Big Show?" I mean, that was just years and years ago. It was amazing. It was really fun. And I really thought they were going to do well, but then they started turning into what they're doing to Christian now, making him whine and whine. It's like, come on, Chris, you want some cheese to go with that wine of yours?
Chris Jericho's epic.
End of story.
End of story.
I think
End
he
of
can
story.
be epic. It's just I don't like whiners. I never have. I never will.
So you don't like yourself?
I don't.
So
whine.
covering SmackDown, which actually just finished airing not long ago. Yeah, their Super Show also. People from Raw and SmackDown were on there. I'll cover a few points real quick. John Cena faced Wade Barrett. John Cena defeated Wade Barrett.
Shocker.
Sheamus defeated the Great Khali disqualification. I think Jinder Mahal got Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal
got involved. The main event was Randy Orton versus Christian in a cage match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Christian did lose, and Randy Orton got attacked by the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
So plain Jane, pretty much on.
Plain Jane.
The only other thing that happened on SmackDown that's worth mentioning is that CM Punk and Triple H had a contract signing, and Kevin Nash got involved. Actually knocked CM Punk and Triple H down. He actually knocked Triple H down, so I don't think Triple H was too happy about that, to be honest with you.
So my next question, I guess we got another buy-sell here. Are you buying or selling the comparison of SmackDown to TNA?
Sell? What?
I'm
What?
Just, it's a joke.
I'm about to say, sell
I'm
that.
kidding.
I was gonna say, holy cow!
I'm just
Come
trying
on
to
here.
drive the point here
Right.
that SmackDown has not been exciting lately. I think they're focusing more on Raw. And I think it's paying off, but at the same time, you've got to try to get some action going down on SmackDown.
I think what they're going to do eventually, I think because SmackDown's ratings have been not that great, I think
Right.
they're going to take the brand extension away and put both guys on both shows. They did it on Raw and SmackDown this past week. So I think that's going to be a good move for them.
And I think they're going to move SmackDown to Tuesdays. And it's going to be live now.
And I definitely think that's what I was going to say. What do you think it's going to take for SmackDown to get exciting? I was going to say live. I wouldn't say move it to Tuesdays, though.
Maybe back to Thursdays.
Maybe back to Thursdays, maybe Wednesday, because with Tuesday you can't actually do Wednesdays because Wednesdays, for those of you that don't know, is dominated by Modern Family on ABC. I mean, it's just true. It's a fact.
Okay.
Modern Family? That's random.
I know.
Whatever.
No, it's a new sitcom on ABC.
I know it is.
It's
Anyway,
a great
so,
show, but
Anyway, yeah.
and I'm not advocating
So,
that. I'm just saying the ratings are showing.
So
that.
on next week's show, everybody, we're going to cover, obviously, the start of the NFL season. That Thursday will be the Saints and the Packers. Should be a great game.
9/11.
No, it's on the 8th.
Or is that the 8th?
That's
I'm
the
sorry.
8th.
That's right. And then the rest of the
Right.
season is 9/11.
Night of Champions.
I'm sorry.
Night of Champions is going to heat up. We're going to see what's going on with that. A lot of good matches coming up. So
We want to thank MWF for showing up at the start of the show. Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Check MWF out. Big B, take it away.
And as always, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk, and you can send us any comment or question you have at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. So for Big B,
This is Postmaster Jones.
And the doctor.
thanks
See ya.
for watching, guys.